Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. Today on the show, we've got NBA Media Day sneakers, $30 Yeezys, Nike going after Nike because of Skepta, the week's hottest release, and of course, our Hard Pass. All right, let's start the show with some hot takes. So, the NBA season is almost here, and wait, the NBA? We're really doing this already? Like, I get it, it's October. Teams have already done their media days and preseason games will be ongoing by the time you watch this, but man, it feels so soon, doesn't it? Like, the NBA Finals was back in June, but if you had told me it was last month, I wouldn't be shocked. I guess between the Olympics, the W, golf, and F1, we haven't had a chance to really miss the NBA. I'm glad it's back, don't get me wrong, but I could have gone a little longer without it. Maybe if they reduced the regular season and actually started on Nah. What am I saying? The NBA is not going to do that. They love money. They even started an in-season tournament just so people would care in October and November. And they cared because, you know, my 17-time world champion and one-time NBA Cup champion Los Angeles Lakers won it last year. Man, it's going to be so funny if they repeat and Bronny is out there with the trophy. The haters are going to be so mad. Let's talk a little bit about the sneakers that have been making headlines in the league so far. So Dallas is now the center of ANTA's plan to grow in America, as the Mavericks not only have Kyrie Irving, but they also acquired Klay Thompson, aka Kyrie before Kyrie. People forget, but we would not have the meme gold mine that was the China Klay character if not for ANTA, because all of Klay's shenanigans were courtesy of his trips to China to promote his signature line. And now Kyrie is saying that a collaboration between him and Klay on the sneaker side is a possibility. Hopefully it's a little more creative than the last time Kai teamed up with a fellow signature athlete. Media Day is when you break out with footwear you probably wouldn't dare wear in an actual game, unless you're PJ Tucker. We've got Tyrese Halliburton in Prada dress shoes, Gary Trent Jr. in Givenchy knitted sneakers, and Jeremy Sokan going the Rick Owens route. I need to see some Crocs one of these days, a la Dirk. My Croc game is strong, Nowinski. Yes, that's an actual thing that he said. And you know what? It's very on brand for Dirk. Scoot Henderson debuted his second Puma signature shoe, the Puma Scoot 1. I mean, that's what it has to be called, right? Last season, it was the Puma Scoot 0, so it has to be the Puma Scoot 1 because you can't GOAT Simulator or Zoom Generation and call it the Puma Scoot 2. After all, the Reebok question was then the Reebok answer 1, not the answer 2. We can't betray math and just skip to whatever number we feel like, people. If you start at 0, 1 is next, not 2. Puma Scoot 1. Puma. P-U-M-A. Puma. Anyway, not only is it media day and season, it's go back to your alma mater and give away your signature shoes season. We've seen some funny bits in the past, but this year's videos so far are honestly pretty tame in comparison. De'Aaron Fox went back to his high school to hand out a special colorway of his Curry Fox 1 signature shoe with the school's logo. And then we got James Harden going back to Arizona State to give out the crew yellow colorway of the Adidas Harden Volume 8. Not gonna lie, the real video we're waiting for is Giannis Antetokounmpo's yearly drop of his Zoom Freak kicks, which included a very cheeky bit last year because Dame Lillard, noted Adidas guy, was traded to the Bucks. No word on whether Dame eventually hooked Giannis up with his Dame sneakers so far. Maybe we get that follow-up this year. It's the inter-brand collaboration the world needs right now. Bulls rookie Matas Buzelis, I hope I said that right, wore the Reebok Engine A. Hey, if Dallas is now onto territory, Reebok might be trying to build something in Chicago. It's gonna be tough. Remember Derrick Rose and Adidas? But hey, you know what? I respect the effort. Josh Christopher of the Miami Heat proves that it pays to be local and a Jordan brand athlete because he got a pair of the Soulfly Air Jordan 17 Reverse Lightnings for his media day photos. That's got to be up there in terms of an athlete being signed to a brand who plays for a city where one of the brand's most prolific collaborators resides. I wonder if Paolo Banchero has that kind of access at Trophy Room, like a back door or something. Devin Booker continues to frustrate the sneaker community with PEs of his Nike Book 1. This time, it's the safari-inspired looks for Media Day. You know, at some point, we just have to let Book live, people. Yes, we hear it's derivative criticism, and we certainly get a lot of these are the actual interesting colorways comments, but it's probably not gonna happen, man. Let's just hope Nike and Book are hearing what's out there and do better, however you want to define better, for the Book too. Anthony Edwards, Team USA's #1 option, and now unquestioned #1 option on the Minnesota Timberwolves, now that Karl Anthony Towns, the greatest shooting big man of all time, according to trusted source Karl Anthony Towns, was traded to the New York Knicks, was pictured on Media Day rocking some chromed out version of his signature Adidas AE1s. Interesting that we don't get to see the AE2s yet, but maybe Adidas just wants to bask in the win they got with the AE1 for a little longer because, let's be honest, it has been a minute. Or it could be they saw the reaction to the leaks of the sample that was being rumored to be AE2 and realized, yeah, we need more time in the lab because we need to get this right. If that's the case, they need a lot of time in the lab because Edwards has a chance to be a transcendent athlete in the way that Tracy McGrady and Derrick Rose once were. If you want to go back even further, Edwards could become for Adidas what they hoped the late Kobe Bryant could have been. That being said, a second sample leaked last month that didn't get as much traction is also being called the AE2, and it is a drastically different look from the first leak in a good way. Maybe they got the message already. Quote, Adidas guy, end quote, Trey Young is rocking the Air Jordan 39 and the ANTA Shockwave 5 for training camp. No news on the Jordan brand side of things as of this recording, but Soul Retriever is reporting that Young is in talks with ANTA because Adidas will not be renewing his contract. Looks like something we should break down a little bit more. If only we had a podcast called Too Hard to Pass that you could watch every Tuesday. Oh, right, we do. We have a podcast called Too Hard to Pass that you can watch every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Check that out on this channel and discuss whether Trey is a Kyrie or a Clay. I think he's a Kyrie. And finally, LeBron James of the 17-time world champion and one-time NBA Cup champion Los Angeles Lakers wore yet another elusive Nike LeBron 3 PE, a colorway inspired by the 5-time world champion Minneapolis Lakers that Los Angeles proudly recognizes belongs to Minneapolis, but also adds to our total of 17 world championships and 1 NBA Cup championship. Meanwhile, Bronny James wore 2 PEs of the Nike LeBron Next Gen. Still kind of surreal to see Bronny actually wearing a Lakers uniform, and it's certainly going to be a trip to see him on the court with his dad whenever that happens. And once that novelty wears off, probably as soon as he makes a mistake in a regular season game, LeBron will have his South Bay Lakers jersey ready. If you're wondering, well, what about Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown? Typical Laker hater just ignoring those two. Again, duh. But also, I will point out to you that last week's episode where Brown and 7-for-1 Performance is our lead story, and I talked about the Jordan Tatum 3 on social media. We didn't forget, we just choose to feature them on our time and schedule, preferably without mentioning who they play for. All right, our pick of the week, the Dot Swoosh Nike Air Max 1 Low Poly on October 8th for $150. See, this is why you bring in Kai Cenat, one of the biggest, if not the biggest streamer in the world, helped Nike debut their latest take on the iconic Air Max 1, the Low Poly. Designed to look like what an Air Max 1 would have looked like in a PlayStation 1 or Nintendo 64 video game, the low polygon count means the edges aren't as smooth or refined, much like graphics of most of those games from that era. Honestly, this could have been a regular release on the Sneakers app and we would have been just as jazzed for it, but it's only available via Nike's Dot Swoosh platform and it's a pre-order. According to Dot Swoosh, it's limit 1 pair per Dot Swoosh member while supplies last and will arrive 120 days after your order. Interesting. While supplies last. I thought the reason why you do a pre-order is so that there's no set number of sneakers produced. It's open edition. Nike makes as many sneakers as there are orders. While supplies last implies that they already have a set number of sneakers made and ready to ship, but they'll make you wait 4 months for it. Look, we all know Nike has been in a litigious mood lately, filing lawsuits left and right and issuing takedowns against creators who they feel have run afoul of their intellectual property. But what if the call was coming from inside the house? As Nice Kicks and so many people in the comments section of the post have pointed out, in 1999, Nike dropped the Air Tune Max in a colorway that will be dubbed the Celery. In 2017, Skepta worked with Nike on an Air Max 97 that was called Dark Russet. The color scheme appears to be inspired by the Celery Air Tune Max. Okay, sure, no big deal. Happens all the time. Flash forward to 2024 and Nike is releasing an Air Max 90 in the same style as the Skepta Air Max 97. Skepta, who now works with Puma, tweeted his amusement about the situation. Okay, so to recap. A 2024 sneaker that appears to be inspired by a 2017 sneaker collab that was seemingly inspired by a 1999 sneaker is funny to the person who designed the 2017 pair. Does Skepta want credit for something that was already out there? Should Nike go after Nike for copying their work? It's sneaker lawsuit inception, and the only thing missing is that sound. What sound? Yeah, that sound. So, Yeezys, they're now selling for as low as $30 at Adidas outlet stores. Oh, well, that's just the way it is. The silhouettes aren't the ones people want, and the colorways aren't inspiring. Kanye approved or not. I will say this, though. I don't want to see the day when an Air Jordan 1, Air Jordan 3, Air Jordan 6, or Air Jordan 11 sits at the Nike outlet for $30 no matter how bad the colorway is. That just means something amazingly stupid has happened, and I hope I never find out what the reason might be. Anyways, on to funnier things. At least I found the latest comments from the Kanye defenders on the socials. I really hope Kanye sees you and hears you. I really do. Let's see. It started at, only thing we're buying from Adidas is Yeezy. Then it went to, we're not buying Adidas Yeezys because Kanye didn't approve of them. That was followed by, Adidas is so desperate for money that they need to sell these Yeezys to stay in business. Oh, wait. Was that the first thing they said? Whatever. Who cares? But now they're saying, this is what Kanye wanted all along, affordable Yeezys. He's such a genius. If mental gymnastics was an Olympic sport, no, they still wouldn't beat the dorks who turn every little thing into culture war bull. Anyway, moving on. It's time for this week's Hard Pass. We'll take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go, like taking sneaker shopping seriously. So, this past week, Roger Federer was a guest on Sneaker Shopping, and it's become the latest episode that has some fans up in arms. Why? Because Federer wasn't there to talk about his Nike partnership that ended several years ago, or any rare kicks he has in his collection. Instead, it was a conversation about Roger's partnership with On, a brand that he owns a 3% stake in, not to mention a whole signature line that involves shoes for both on and off the tennis courts. You can kind of understand why Roger or Jola Puma wouldn't want to talk about the Zoom Vapor AJ3s for the 20th time. Instead, we got some insight into On bringing on Zendaya to be a brand ambassador, and that moment when The Rock wore On sneakers during Super Bowl introductions a few years back. First of all, I had forgotten that happened, and second, why the hell was The Rock, noted Under Armour guy, wearing On sneakers for such a huge moment? Considering how brand conscious Rock is, he probably has a dozen jabronis he employs just carrying cases of Terramana and Papatui and Project Rock promotional swag anywhere he goes. You would think that would be a great time to flex in whatever UA trainers he has to shield at the time. But no, it was On, or as some people like to call it, QC. But yeah, it's stories and insights like that I feel makes for interesting content. Not another story of how some D-list celebrity grew up loving J's but couldn't afford them. I have that same story. Co-writer has that story. The Rock, Roger Federer, and Zendaya probably have that story. What they don't have is the story of owning a 3% stake in a Swedish sneaker brand that is climbing the sales chart and being overjoyed that one of the most popular people in the world is wearing their brand during the Super Bowl even though he's signed to another brand. And then we come to the big finish, and Federer isn't buying shoes. Instead, he was there to promote his own sneakers and a giveaway called Pro Strings Attached, for 3 pairs of his signature Roger Pro sneakers that include pieces of strings from the racket he used when he won the 2005 Wimbledon Championship. I mean, that's pretty cool, man. A lot more interesting than seeing somebody buy overpriced GR Jordan Retros or Powerpuff Girls SB Dunks. And no offense to anybody who likes Powerpuff Girls SB Dunks, I just saw a bunch of them being bought for like 5 straight episodes. If you want to critique it for being SpawnCon, I get that. But if no money was exchanged and it was simply a guest who wanted to plug something, nobody's really deceiving anybody. Roger Federer represents On. Of course he's going to talk about On. If you want to see him talk about Nike, go back to his previous appearance on the show when he was still a Nike athlete. I guess this episode reminded some fans of the Shaquille O'Neal and Allen Iverson episode that featured nothing but Reebok, or the Steph Curry spot from last year that had Under Armours on the wall. To which I would say, good. Let these other brands get on shows like this and get them in the conversation. Give me a sneaker shopping episode where the guest buys nothing but Hokas or Solomons or APLs. Look, I love sneaker shopping as a concept, but if I see another pair of Lobster Dunks or Off-Whites or Louis Vuitton Air Forces being bought by the Temu version of Kai Cenat or the problematic Fifth Paul brother, it's going to be a problem. Okay, I don't really think about sneaker shopping like that. It's not that seriously, honestly. But also, Joe, where's my invite to sneaker shopping? Sure, my budget's like $200, but we can make that work. They got on runners at Flight Club with no strings attached, right? Anyway, that's gonna do it for the show. Thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I am Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week. If you'd like to possibly be featured in a future episode, call us at 818-493-9325. Leave a short message, your socials if you want, no more than 30 seconds. All right, I'll see you next week. Peace.